Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayantiri Nashtaprayeshu Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seva Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So today we are starting the 16th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, entitled The Divine and Demonic Natures. So previous chapter, Krishna ended with this is the most confidential part of Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. And what was the most confidential part? Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is a knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharat. So that was about the devotional service and devotees. Now Krishna will talk about the characteristics of devotees and demoniac. Of course, devotees, because so many places he has talked about devotees, devotion service, and the yogis, and the realized souls. So that part he will just cover very in a summary, but he'll definitely get into the demoniac qualities. So text 1 through 3. Shri Bhagwan Vacha Abhyam Sattva Sanshuddhir Jnana Yoga Vyavastitihi Dhanam Dhamascha Yagyascha Swadhyayastap Arjavam Ahimsa Satyam Krodhas Tyaga Shantirapashanam Daya Bhuteshva Lolutvam Martvam Hiruchapalam Teja Kshama Dhriti Shocham Droho Nati Manita Bhavanti Sampadam Devi Apijatasya Bharata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharat, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. So we all love to be called, oh, he's a devotee, she's a devotee, and we call each other, oh, he's a pure devotee, she's a pure devotee, he's very advanced, and she is very exalted devotee, and this and that. But devotee means the qualities. How much of these qualities we have, that we have to see. In the beginning of the 15th chapter, the banyan tree of this material world was explained. The extra roots coming out of it were compared to the activities of the living entities, some auspicious, some inauspicious. In the 9th chapter also, the devas are godly and the asuras are ungodly or demons were explained. Now, according to Vedic rites, activities in the mode of goodness are considered auspicious for progress on the path of liberation. And such activities are known as Devi Prakriti, transcendental by nature. Those who are situated in the transcendental nature make progress on the path of liberation. For those who are acting in the modes of passion and ignorance, on the other hand, there is no possibility of liberation. For those who are acting in the modes of passion and ignorance, either they will have to remain in this material world as human beings, or they will descend among the species of animals, or even lower life forms. In this 16th chapter, the Lord explains both the transcendental nature and its attendant qualities, and the demonic nature and its qualities. He also explains the advantages and disadvantages of these qualities. So he's going to explain the qualities of both, divine and demonic. The word abhijatasya, in reference to one born of transcendental qualities or godly tendencies, is very significant. To beget a child in a godly atmosphere is known in the Vedic scriptures as Garbhadhan Sanskar. If the parents want a child in the godly qualities, they should follow the 10 principles recommended for the social life of the human being. In Bhagavad Gita, we have studied also before that sex life for begetting a good child is Krishna himself. Sex life is not condemned, provided the process is used in Krishna consciousness. Those who are in Krishna consciousness at least should not beget children like cats and dogs, but should beget them so that they may become Krishna conscious after birth. That should be the advantage of the children born of father and mother, absorbed in Krishna consciousness. So even in the life of a devotee, one should be very careful in bringing the progeny. Means they should try to make sure that the kids become Krishna conscious. The social institution known as Varnashram Dharma, the institution dividing society into 4 divisions of spiritual life and 4 occupational divisions or caste, is not meant to divide human society according to birth. Such divisions are in terms of educational qualifications. They are to keep the society in a state of peace and prosperity. The qualities mentioned herein are explained as transcendental qualities meant for making a person progress in spiritual understanding so that he can get liberated from the material world. So Varnashram Dharma, Varnashram system that Krishna has established, Chatur Varne Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagata. That is on the basis of Guna and Karma, not Janma. And in fact, these days, it's not even on the basis of Janma. That's just on paper. These days, in Kali Yuga, it's all on the basis of how much money one has. If one has money, one has power, he is considered a Brahman. Because everything he says and everything he does is being followed by millions. He could be a movie actor or a sports person or a very corrupt politician or nobody knows how he has made money, an industrialist. But if he has money, if he has shiny car, big bank balance, big house, or many houses, people will just follow him. And whatever he says, it will be considered as Brahma Vakya. That this is the ultimate truth. Why? Because God of cricket, Sachin Tendulkar has said it. Or because the Shahanshah of Indian movie industry has said it. Or because this person is a great politician, is a great leader who doesn't even know how to speak because he said it. This has become our dharma these days. But that's not how society was divided. It was divided, but according to the qualities one has and the work he does. And that's what Prabhupada said, they are to keep the society in a state of peace and prosperity. Because everybody, if they do work according to their qualities, there'll be complete peace and prosperity also. Everybody can be satisfied at home. But that's not the case these days. In the Varnashram institution, the sannyasi or the person in the renounced order of life is considered to be the head or the spiritual master of all the social statuses and orders. A Brahman is considered to be the spiritual master of the 3 other sections of a society, namely the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. But a sannyasi, who's on the top of the institution, is considered to be the spiritual master of Brahmins also. So that's the position of a sannyasi. For a sannyasi, the first qualification should be fearlessness. So this is how the list of qualities started. Abhayam, fearlessness. So for the sannyasis, not just for the sannyasis, for anybody who is spiritually advanced, the first quality here mentioned, of course, different places Krishna mentioned different qualities. But here, the first quality that mentioned is fearlessness. No fear. No fear means if one is completely surrendered to Krishna, one is completely dependent upon Krishna, he has nothing to fear. There is a bhajan, Bhajuhu Reman Shri Nandanandan Abhay Charanaravinda. Means if we do take shelter of Shri Nandanandan, the son of Nanda Maharaj. Actually, Nandan doesn't mean the son, the literal meaning. Just to clarify. Shri Nandanandan. Nandan means one who gives pleasure. Nandan, the word comes from Anand. So pleasure, one who gives pleasure to Nanda Maharaj. Of course, the son gives the most pleasure to father or mother. Yashoda Nandan, Nanda Nandan, Devaki Nandan. So that's why it's Krishna. But why I say so? Actually, I had asked this question. Nandan, how come Nandan means son? Because if you have heard of a name, there's a name called Revati Nandan. Now, Revati is wife of Balramji, and Balramji is not known to have a son. But there is a Prabhupada also named a devotee, Revati Nandan. So then who is giving pleasure to Revati? If Revati does not have a son, why this name, Revati Nandan? So actually Revati Nandan means Balramji, where Balramji, husband, gives pleasure to his wife, in this case. But anyway, that's getting technical. So the bhajan says, Bhajuhu Reman Shri Nandanandan Abhay Charanarvindare, because he gives Abhay, if we take shelter of his lotus feet, Charanarvind, we become fearless. Because a sannyasi has to be alone without any support or guarantee of support, he has simply to depend on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one thinks after I leave my connections, who will protect me? He should not accept the renounced order of life. So this is the quality, very big quality of a sannyasi, fearlessness, because he has taken complete shelter of Krishna. Who will protect me? Who will provide for me? And in fact, who has taken complete shelter of Krishna and who has become fearless is nothing less than a sannyasi. And why is Krishna telling this quality to Arjuna? Because he wants Arjuna to take complete shelter of Krishna. And without fear and without any doubt, he should fight. So that is the quality of a devotee. He is fearless. Fearless doesn't mean he is careless. Fearless doesn't mean he does all sorts of nonsense things and thinks, oh, Krishna will protect me. No. He still has to use his brain, his common sense, his intelligence. But in his dealings, he should be fearless. In his life, in his day-to-day activities, he should be fearless. That who will provide for me? Who will take care of me? In fact, well, there are quite a few qualities, and it's a long purport. I just wanted to tell you a story. There's one of the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I'm forgetting his name. I think it was Mukunda, but I'm not really 100% positive because I heard this story long time back and I haven't narrated this story, but I forgot the names. So that devotee, I think it was Raghunandan, I believe. Anyway, the story is he had a deity named Gopinath. So he would care for this deity serve very lovingly, just like a father serves or takes care of his little baby. And this devotee, Raghunath or Raghunandan, he had a son. But somehow, Krishna's arrangement, that son died, young age. So this devotee, of course, he did his final rites and then he came back to the deity and he was very much disturbed. And deity, knowing the heart of his devotee, deity asked him, why are you so disturbed? Because there is so much of reciprocation of love. The deity is talking to the devotee or the pujari. And the devotee said, well, my son died and now I don't have any son. And who will do Shraddha for me when I die? So that's why I'm concerned, I'm worried. So this deity, Gopinath, he said, why are you worried about that? You're like my father, I will do your Shraddha. And the devotee said, what are you talking about? We never heard of a deity doing Shraddha. Then Gopinath said, don't worry, just have faith on me. I will do your Shraddha. And in fact, when this devotee he passed away, the deity Gopinath, he instructed the new pujari to dress him in white. And he said, because this devotee was like my father, I want to wear white. It's like I'm doing his Shraddha and I'm going to do his Shraddha ceremony. And till today, that day, one day of the year, the deities are dressed in white because that is the disappearance day of that devotee, and it's considered that he's performing, the deities are performing Shraddha ceremony for his father. So this is what Krishna does. If we have taken full shelter of his lotus feet, he is ready to remove any doubts, any fearful situations from our life. He's ready. It's just we have to take shelter. And he does protect. Over and over and over, he has shown in the history that I protect my devotees. I take care of my devotees. I provide whatever they lack and I carry whatever they have. I do it personally. For a devotee who has full faith, who has taken shelter, he doesn't bother. Krishna will take care of him. Just like there was this devotee, Srivas Thakur, in Mahaprabhu Leela, and he was one of the Panchtattvas. Mahaprabhu would go to his house every day and he would perform Sankirtan at his house in the night. Whole night the Kirtan would go on. And this went on for almost a year in Navadvip. So one day Mahaprabhu asked Srivas, you are a Grihastha, means you have family and you're not just only one, you have 4 brothers who are all Grihasthas and you have children, you have a big household to maintain. But I don't see you going and making money, doing any business or job or anything. So how is it that your house is being maintained? And Srivas Thakur, actually he is incarnation of Narad Muni. Srivas Thakur, he looked at Mahaprabhu and he just clapped his hand 3 times. Mahaprabhu said, Srivas, just quit this, whatever you're doing. I'm asking a serious question. How do you maintain your household? And Srivas Thakur again clapped 3 times. Mahaprabhu said, I'm asking you a serious question and you're clapping. What is this? Okay, what's the meaning of this clapping of 3 times? What does it mean? Srivas Thakur said, Mahaprabhu, you're the Supreme Personality of God. You are completely independent in whatever you want to do. So if you don't provide for my household, because we have taken complete shelter of you, all of our brothers, our wives, our children, we have taken complete shelter of you. So if you don't provide in our household for a day, that means 1 clap. In that day we will fast. For 2 days, another clap means we'll fast for 2 days. If you still don't provide 3rd day, that means 3rd day we'll all go to the Ganges and we'll drown ourselves because you didn't provide. And Mahaprabhu was so pleased with this surrender and so pleased with this confidence in Mahaprabhu's mercy. Mahaprabhu said, even if Lakshmi has to go door to door to beg, which obviously we know that they will never come, even if Lakshmi has to go to beg, in your house there will not be any scarcity. So that is Mahaprabhu's mercy. And that's a surrender or confidence of a devotee in Mahaprabhu's mercy. So that is fearlessness. So that fearlessness, of course, I'm not saying it's going to happen in a day. This is what we have to achieve. We take baby steps. We take baby steps towards Krishna. We do some service. We have some faith, and Krishna does reciprocate, and that increases our faith. That bolsters, that strengthens our faith in Krishna, and Krishna's mercy, and Krishna's protection. But we have to take shelter, because otherwise, in the material world, there is nobody who can protect us, who can take care of us. Even if we have money in the bank, there is no guarantee that money will be there when I need it. Even if we have bought plot or whichever way we have saved money, there is no guarantee that the money will save me. If the money was supposed to save somebody, then all the rich people wouldn't have died. Or the rich people wouldn't have gone through accidents or some other negative impacts in their lives. Or if we think our relatives, my children, my wife, my husband, my brother, my sister, they will save me, they will protect me. Not gonna happen. So only person who can save and protect us is Krishna. So that faith we have to develop, and that shelter of his lotus feet is what we need. That is the real insurance policy. And for that insurance policy, the premium that we have to pay is very simple. Just chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. And we can pay that premium whole day, every day. We keep on paying. More premium we pay, more insurance we get. And this insurance of Krishna, it doesn't even come with any fine print. Insurance policies we buy today, they all have some fine print. But Krishna's protection, Krishna's insurance or assurance, no fine print at all. So one must be fully convinced that Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his localized aspect as Paramatma, is always within, that he is seeing everything and he always knows what one intends to do. One must thus have firm conviction that Krishna as Paramatma will take care of his soul, surrendered to him. I shall never be alone, one should think. Even if I live in the darkest regions of a forest, I shall be accompanied by Krishna, and he will give me all protection. That conviction is called abhayam, fearlessness. This state of mind is necessary for a person in the renounced order of life, especially in the renounced order of life. When he has left his house, left the comfort zone of his house, of his beloveds, and of all the so-called securities of life he has left, and there's guaranteed that Krishna will not let him down. No way. Ultimately, Krishna has to protect his reputation also. When he says in Bhagavad Gita, Konte pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Oh Arjun, you declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. So obviously it's Krishna's reputation at stake here. That if a devotee leaves everything for Krishna and Krishna doesn't protect him, then why would anybody take shelter of Krishna? So one thing I would say is, it's not that Krishna only tests his devotees. Devotees should also test Krishna. Why not? Krishna, you say, Kamte prati janhi name bhakta pranashyati. I'm your devotee, you protect me. What's the problem? Krishna does protect. Of course, there can be loving reciprocation. That's a different story. But Krishna will protect. So one can test Krishna. Not a problem. Okay, now the second quality. Then he has to purify his existence. There are so many rules and regulations to be followed in the renounced order of life. Most important of all, a sannyasi is strictly forbidden to have any intimate relationship with a woman. He is even forbidden to talk with the women in a secluded place. Lord Chaitanya was an ideal sannyasi, and when he was at Puri, his feminine devotees could not even come near to offer their respects. They were advised to bow down from a distant place. This is not a sign of hatred for women or as a class, but it's a stricture imposed on the sannyasi not to have close connections with women. One has to follow the rules and regulations of a particular status of life in order to purify his existence. For a sannyasi, intimate relations with the women and possession of wealth for sense gratification are strictly forbidden. Ideal sannyasi was Lord Chaitanya himself, and we can learn from his life that he was very strict in regards to women. Although he is considered to be the most liberal incarnation of Godhead, accepting the most fallen conditioned souls, he strictly followed the rules and regulations of the sannyas order of life in connection with association with women. One of his personal associates, namely Chota Haridas, was associated with Lord Chaitanya, along with his other confidential personal associates, but somehow or other, this Chota Haridas looked lustily on a young woman, and Lord Chaitanya was so strict that he at once rejected him from the society of his personal associates. Lord Chaitanya said, for a sannyasi or anyone who is aspiring to get out of the clutches of material nature and trying to elevate himself to the spiritual nature and go back to Godhead, for him looking towards material possessions and women for sense gratification, not even enjoying them, but just looking toward them with such a propensity is so condemned that he had better commit suicide before experiencing such illicit desires. So these are the processes for purification. So purification is not just taking bath or anything like that, which is also purification, but the real purification is inside. purification of consciousness. And consciousness is impure or becomes impure but when we try to enjoy. In the same way as Krishna does, when we think or when we become envious of Krishna and we want to enjoy. Enjoyment is of what? Basically of two things, material possessions and women. For means the opposite sex. For ladies, it's thinking of enjoying with a man. So this tendency has to be curbed. It's very important to make progress in bhakti. Because the tendency to enjoy the opposite sex and the tendency to somehow enjoy or control money, power, that also keeps us bound in the material world. Very much keeps us here. Because it all culminates in good amount of sense gratification. And sense gratification means we will be bound with our senses and there will be so many desires, partially fulfilled, partially unfulfilled, completely unfulfilled desires, and there could be some completely fulfilled, but those desires, they become greed. So again, they give rise to more desires to enjoy materially. So these desires, they bind us in the material world. So the purification of our existence means we completely get rid of those desires. And the way to do that is to take shelter of Krishna, of service of Krishna, chanting of Krishna's name, hearing. When we do that, then slowly we give up those other desires to enjoy materially. They will go away. It will happen slowly, but it depends on how determination, with how much determination, sincerity we perform our devotional service. It all depends on us. Again, we can pose ourselves as a very big devotee, but that the reality is known to us and to Krishna, who is sitting as Paramatma in our heart. So just like Aditya Rajiv Prabhu was asking, how do we know how we're making progress in bhakti? Is we're getting more and more attached to Krishna, Krishna's name, Krishna's service, hearing about Krishna, and less attachment towards the material world. Of course, this material body that we have, now scientifically we understand this body is a product of, it's a combination of 8 material elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, which is just ingredients. But this material body is actually a product of our desires from previous lives. And the desires are based on our impressions in our consciousness, deep impressions of unfulfilled, partially unfulfilled desires from so many previous lives. That gives us this material body. And now from this material body, while living in this material body, and while living with the consciousness with so many unfulfilled desires, so many unfulfilled from previous lives, so many unfulfilled from this life. And now we are trying to serve Krishna, chant Krishna's name. But the desires are still there. And we are fighting every day. Of course, Prabhupada said, even if the desires are there, you keep on chanting Krishna's name and Krishna will protect you. Krishna is going to win over any material desires. Yes, Krishna can win over any material desire. Krishna can protect us, give us all protection. But the question is, are we really chanting? Are we really taking shelter of Krishna? Or are we just finishing our rounds? Prabhupada, you must have seen his quotes. If somebody is chanting 16 rounds every day, there is no way Maya can touch it. Great, yes, absolutely true. But are we really chanting? Or are we just finishing our rounds? If we are just finishing our rounds, then there are chances Maya will cover us again. But whatever chanting we have done, whatever service we have done, whatever even finishing our rounds we have done, so that goes as a credit in our account, in our spiritual bank balance. That goes as a credit. But since we haven't chanted, since we haven't performed devotion service properly, so the chances are Maya will capture us. So why I'm saying that is one shouldn't, yes, one should feel bad that if I don't make as much progress as I want to, or if I fall down. I don't want to use the word fall down. Fall down is for people who are already running or walking, or they're really on a high position. We are already fallen. How low we can fall down. Means about the sense gratification. If there are some incidents, yes, happen, fine, get over it, and again get back to the path of bhakti. Because we have so many desires, so many unlimited desires are there. And to control our mind, control our consciousness in this one lifetime, where we are struggling with our sadhana bhakti, it's like the most impossible thing to do. Krishna can do anything and he can give us all kinds of protection. Well, actually, if we are taking shelter, have we taken shelter? Haridas Thakur, when he used to chant 3 lakh names every day, in the cave he was chanting. And Maya Devi herself came, took the form of the beautiful lady. And we can't even imagine if Maya Devi herself comes as a woman, how attractive she must be. We just see a spark of a splendor of Maya Devi and we get bewildered. Whether in the form of a very handsome, charming man or a very beautiful woman, we get bewildered. But if same Maya Devi with a full force, full opulence, she takes a form of a woman and comes to entice Haridas Thakur. We cannot even imagine how beautiful she must be. But Haridas Thakur did not get attracted to her. Haridas Thakur did not get enticed by her. Haridas Thakur, when she came and she asked Haridas Thakur that I am very much attracted to you, I want to have a relationship with you. Haridas Thakur said, well, my dear lady, I'll fulfill all your desires. The only thing is, I have a vow that until I chant my fixed quota of rounds, I don't do anything. So why don't you sit here and let me finish my quota of rounds? And as soon as that is done, I'll fulfill your desires. So she sat down. Haridas Thakur kept on chanting. In fact, that night he chanted more than 3 lakh names, the fixed quota of 3 lakh every day. He kept on chanting whole night. Morning, first morning at dawn, then Haridas Thakur said, oh, my dear lady, I'm sorry I could not satisfy you, but you come back again this evening. I'll chant my rounds and I'll satisfy you. So 3 nights she kept on coming. So after the 3rd night was over, she fell down at Haridas Thakur's lotus feet and she begged for forgiveness. And she said, I was told by this Kazi to come and entice you, because he wanted to, his soldiers are nearby, and they would have been ready to arrest you if you had even touched me or looked at me in the wrong way. But you didn't, you kept on chanting, and now I'm attracted to this chant. Haridas Thakur said, I knew that from the very first time when you came here. I would have left the cave right then and there, but I stayed back just to liberate you. So Haridas Thakur has initiated Maya Devi, and he gave her deeds that you chant, you sit down and chant. So that is a power of a pure devotee. He can do that because there's so much absorbed in service of Krishna, so much absorbed in chanting Krishna's name. They cannot get enticed by anybody or anything else. But that's an ideal situation. Srila Prabhupada, he could not be attracted by anybody. Although here Prabhupada himself is writing, this is Prabhupada's purport, that a sannyasi should not be in the company of a woman alone. But Prabhupada himself, when he was in America, there are instances when Malti Mataji drove him from one place to another, and the two were in the car. Or there were instances when Prabhupada was in the flat alone with the Govinda Mataji. But Prabhupada did not get attracted towards them in a wrong way. But Prabhupada had taken complete shelter of Krishna. Of course, once Prabhupada was taking darshan of the deities, I don't know which temple, and his disciple, servant, Shutkirti Prabhu was there. Shutkirti Prabhu was mentioning this to us, that Prabhupada took darshan and he folded his hands and he just whispered some prayers. And Shutkirti Prabhu asked Prabhupada afterwards, Prabhupada, what were you praying? And Prabhupada very humbly said that I was praying to the Lord that please don't let me fall in Maya. And Shutkirti Prabhu was surprised. You're like, Prabhupada, you're a pure devotee. Why? Even you have to pray like this? Prabhupada said, yes, we all have to be afraid of Maya. And he said, the problem with you, American young men and women, is you're not afraid of Maya. And this goes not for American young men and women, it goes for men and women all over the world. Young or old, doesn't matter. We are not afraid of Maya. We are flirting with Maya. And why? Because we have so many desires. Why we have so many desires? Because we haven't taken shelter of Krishna properly. That takes away all these material desires. So if we take shelter, we will become fearless and we will become purified also at the same time. That's the purification of existence. Third one. The next item is Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. Being engaged in the cultivation of knowledge. Sannyasi life is meant for distributing knowledge to the householders and others who have forgotten their real life for spiritual advancement. A sannyasi is supposed to beg from door to door for his livelihood, but this does not mean that he is a beggar. Humility is also one of the qualifications of a transcendently situated person, and out of sheer humility, the sannyasi goes from door to door, not exactly for the purpose of begging, but to see the householders and awaken them to Krishna consciousness. This is the duty of a sannyasi. If he is actually advanced and so ordered by his spiritual master, he should preach Krishna consciousness with logic and understanding. And if one is not so advanced, he should not accept the renounced order of life. So the idea behind renounced order of life, idea behind taking sannyas, idea behind taking complete shelter of Krishna is to preach to others, to those who are materially conditioned. That's the whole idea. To uplift them spiritually. And this is a proper thing. And if one is not so advanced that he can preach with logic and understanding, he should not accept the renounced order of life. But even if one has accepted the renounced order of life without sufficient knowledge, he should engage himself fully in hearing from a bona fide spiritual master to cultivate knowledge. A sannyasi or one in the renounced order of life must be situated in fearlessness, sattva samshuddhi, and jnana yoga. So knowledge is very, very important. Why? First to give us full conviction, and then secondly for us to convince others that taking up bhakti marg or bhakti processes is always beneficial for everybody. So that can only happen when we can preach with logic and knowledge and understanding. The next item is charity. Charity is meant for the householders. So those three qualities were for sannyasis, and now the qualities for householders. The householders should earn a livelihood by an honorable means and spend 50% of their income to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. Thus, a householder should give in charity to institutions, societies that are engaged in that way. Charity should be given to the right receiver. There are different kinds of charity, as will be explained later on. Charity in the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Charity in the mode of goodness is recommended by the scriptures, but charity in the mode of passion and ignorance is not recommended because it's simply a waste of money. Charity should be given only to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. That is the charity in the mode of goodness. So the next item, Prabhupada says, or Krishna mentioned, was charity, dana. So why charity? Because charity purifies us. Giving money or giving something in charity, whether it is charity of knowledge, charity of money, charity of other invaluables that we have in our possession, that purifies us actually. That takes away our desire to enjoy that amount. That takes us closer to Krishna in the sense that, of course, one who's a devotee, in the sense that we say, I have given charity, means I don't even have that asset or that possession. So all I can do is take shelter of Krishna. That's what Prabhupada said. And for householders, the injunction is to spend 50% of their income to propagate Krishna consciousness. And if somebody can spend 50% of his income in bhakti or in service of Krishna, then he has to be living very simply to live off of rest 50%. It's never enough, even if somebody has 150% of his income. It's never enough for greed. But if we minimize our needs, our desires, then one has to one can live off of that 50% which is left. So that simplicity of life can only come when one is a devotee. One has become Krishna conscious. Then he can become simple. And when he is simple, he can live off of 50%, maybe only off of 20% of his income, because he hardly has any other desires or needs. So that's why charity is very important. So I'm not saying you give away 50%, but you all, since you are helping in propagating Krishna consciousness, your house is like a temple where Krishna is being served. So it's okay. Whatever charity you can give to purify the income and purify our consciousness, one should do as much as possible. So one has to see the situation of one's advancement, how wherever one is. In these cases, we should not imitate others. We should not, okay, that person is doing so much and I'm not doing. Everybody's situation is different. Consciousness different. Household situation is different. Life is different. Health situation is different. So one has to see where one stands and still give charity accordingly. It's very, very important. That's why later on it is said that 3 things one should never give up, even if one is fully self-realized. Yajna, Dan, and Tapa. Sacrifice, charity, and austerity should never be given up. So I guess I will stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
It was such a wonderful class. We were totally absorbed in it. So thank you very much for that beautiful class. There is always one doubt which comes to me when we hear about charity and sacrifice. So what is the difference between sacrifice and charity? Is charity also not a kind of sacrifice?
Kind of, yes. But sacrifice is to make sacrifice for the upliftment of others, but at the same time we get uplifted spiritually. But charity is to give something that we are attached to. Of course, that's also sacrifice, and technically, yes. But sacrifice also means we sacrifice our sleep or sacrifice our rest to go and do some benefit of somebody else.
Okay. But you were also mentioning about charity as charity of not only money but knowledge, our other resources. So charity is also not just done for uplifting others, and sacrifice also sometimes we are doing it for uplifting others only. So somewhere I feel that
there could be some connection, some overlapping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the clear demarcation between these two terms? It's not so important a question. It's just a curiosity question which arises in me. So I thought I would clarify it with you. But I have some other questions also.
Well, I'll do some research, look it up, and let you know what Prabhupada talks about.
Right.
Of course, this is one of the qualities that will come later on about sacrifice.
Yeah, it has come throughout the Bhagavad Gita from the 2nd or 3rd chapter, I think. We have been reading about these attributes, but I somehow thought I have understood, but now I'm trying to find out what's the clear difference between these two things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a question in my mind for a long time, so I thought I will ask you today. One more thing, Prabhu. These are all some questions which I have been asked by some devotees, so I'm just trying to clarify it. Today we have a few more minutes, so if it's not very, if others don't have many questions, then I will ask.
I have a small question, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mata.
When you talk about charity, 3 types of charity, the mode of goodness, ignorance, and passion. So what can you give me an example about charity which is called mode of ignorance?
Well, actually, this will come later on in the 17th or 18th chapter. But just to give a short example, charity in the mode of ignorance is if charity or money is given to somebody to do harm to a third person.
Okay. I mean, I am telling somebody to do something for me rather doing directly by myself. Is that so?
No, harm to third person.
Okay, okay, okay.
In
Okay.
local language, supari dena.
Okay, like kind of black magic and all also, probably.
That can be considered, yes, in that way.
Okay. So almost similar. The mode of passion is almost similar.
No, passion is when we give money so that I get lots of name and fame. That
Okay.
everybody should sing my name that I have given this charity.
It means like after giving the charity, when someone is like informing everybody that I have done this, that, so that is kind of called mode of passion. Yeah.
Yeah, either I say it or I get my name
Hmm.
publicized by the person who received the charity.
Okay. So sacrifice is called yagya, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so that we'll be discussing later.
Yeah, it's quality in this shloka only. So tomorrow we'll discuss.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
You're welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Dipanshu Prabhu. Welcome to the class.
Prabhu, I'm joining the class for last 2-3 days.
Yeah, that's nice.
Prabhu, actually, I have a couple of questions. When you were talking about, chanting, the chanting is not merely to do the completion of the rounds. So I was curious to know what is the real purpose of chanting? And one more question is that what is more important, to chant or to have a connect with the God or the Krishna?
Well, the meaning of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, as told to us by Prabhupada, is we are begging Radharani and Krishna that please engage me in your service. That I have done enough of service of Maya. Now you please engage me. Please, we are begging. So chanting means we are really begging. It should come from the heart, with emotions, with feelings. That yes, Radha Krishna, please engage me. And when we are just finishing our rounds, the sincerity is not there. The prayer is not there. The begging thought, emotions, feelings are not there. So we are just repeating the words, that's all. There is no feeling. So that's why it's not considered as chanting.
Okay. So
So
basically, if I
chanting is our connection with Krishna. Of course, service is also, but chanting is the most important service in Kali Yuga that we perform to connect ourselves with Krishna.
it means that there can be other ways to connect with Krishna as well apart from chanting, but chanting is the most important one,
Most important, most powerful, especially in Kali Yuga.
especially in Kali Yuga. Okay.
Well, other processes that are given like service, physical service, or doing other sacred yagya like book distribution and prasadam distribution. Yes, these are all good. But the basis of all this is chanting. If we are not chanting properly, then we are doing pious activities, punya, not bhakti. Because consciousness is not properly situated.
Okay. Prabhuji, one last question, Prabhuji.
Yes,
When we talk about that, we have to do bhakti. What exactly bhakti means? Does it mean that we have to connect with the God, or we have to love God? What exactly means by the bhakti?
well, to love God is a very high stage of bhakti. Bhakti means, in a nutshell, in a very gist, to do things that are favorable towards Krishna. in a right mood, obviously in the right mood, and to do activities which are favorable to Krishna.
Okay.
In a
Actually,
nutshell. Now
this
that expands a lot.
Actually, I've been, we have been discussing, me and my some colleagues have been discussing about bhakti. So we were just confused about that. What exactly is the meaning of bhakti? So now you have clarified me, so I can explain them to this thing that this is okay. This is the real meaning of bhakti.
Yeah, but you have so many good, sincere devotees in your company, and they can explain much better.
No, Prabhuji. You are
Radha,
one of
Radha
the
Prabhu, Shashwati Mata, Vanna Mata, Puja Mata. There are so many Preeti Mataji. They're all there.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
In the beginning of this lecture, you were talking about Revati Nandan, the name. So you
Yeah.
said that Nandan denotes Balram or Krishna. I didn't hear that properly, the answer.
Yeah, see, what I was saying is generally when we say Nanda Nandan, we say son of Nanda Maharaj.
Yeah,
So Nandan means son.
yeah,
Actually, it means one who gives pleasure to Nanda Maharaj. Of course, to Nanda Maharaj, Krishna gives most pleasure. That is, so Nandan refers to son. But then there is a name called Revati Nandan. Prabhupada gave that name to a devotee. So what does Revati Nandan mean? Revati ji did not have a son. There was no son of Balram ji.
right.
So Revati Nandan actually means one who gives pleasure to Revati, and that is Balram ji.
Okay.
So
Revati,
Nandan word, actually Nandan means one who gives pleasure
pleasure.
to that person.
Right, I got it. Okay, thank you very much, Prabhu. And
Thank you.
we were talking about charity in the mode of passion. Just now, Mosmi Mataji asked a question and you were explaining. Sometimes we also give charity, and we know that going and announcing it to the world outside is in the mode of passion. So we try to control it. We don't tell anybody. But then because we are in the mode of passion, we go and tell someone in particular that, yeah, I did this kind of charity. So we somehow, without our conscious effort, we let it be known to someone, not all the people, but we may tell one person with whom we wanted to have a good rapport or influence. So is that also the
Well, one has to see his heart, because that also could be that I want to inspire others.
right?
Not for my own sake, but still I want to inspire others. So one has to see where his heart is, because nobody else can.
Okay.
I can give justification also that, oh, I didn't want my name to be sung, but inside my heart I might be really hankering for that. Everybody should know I give so much of charity. That is passion.
Right. Sometimes while
So,
filing returns, we let it known to the auditor or a friend who's helping us. So that also, like, he comes to know this fellow has given this much charity or that much charity. So that is something we may not be able to avoid, but then it comes to be known to all the people. Somehow this person goes and tells another person, and then they start talking, oh, he gives lots of charity. So indirectly, our name gets popular. So in that case,
yeah, but what's in your heart?
yeah,
Whether you
okay.
want your name or not, that depends on you.
So because we gave a charity and because of which we became famous or popular, so does that charity come into the mode of passion, or because my heart is still clean, I didn't really want to make it known to everybody, but still it came to be known, so it will be considered a charity in the mode of goodness?
Yeah,
I
if
know
your
the
heart is, if the person who has given the charity, his heart is clean, then
right.
it's goodness, or it could be beyond goodness.
Yeah. Okay. So whenever, as a, like when we do charity for the cause of spreading Krishna consciousness, I know that doesn't come into any of these three modes of charity, right?
Still, it depends on the heart of the giver.
Now, when we do a charity on the direction of a superior, like when you inspire us to give some charity for the marriage of some devotee in Barsana, in Jagannath Puri, these charity will be considered in the mode of goodness, or like we are doing purely for your pleasure, when we do it for your pleasure or for the pleasure of devotees like Krishna Premataji.
True, but still, I mean, first of all, we are not, of course, the act could be transcendental, but we are not. Our consciousness is not. So it depends. If I give for this girl's wedding in Barsana, but if in my heart I'm thinking, oh, everybody should know that I have given so much,
Right.
then it's still in passion. Of course, it can be used in the wedding, but so I will get benefit
Right.
as bhakti, but I'm still under the three modes. I'm not out of it yet. Charity could be out of it. I'm not out.
Right. So which means in the effectively we can say, according to the mode in which we are situated, our actions will be always in that mode only, not anything out of it. So if I'm having a mode of passion in me, and if I'm predominantly in the mode of passion, even though I may think I'm doing an activity of bhakti, so it will still be activity in the mode of passion.
Yeah, but I have pleased Brajvasis, so obviously that will come back to me. And both could be both ways, as bhakti also, and as material, fulfilling material desires also.
Right. So thank you very much, Prabhuji, for clarifying each and every question with the very, very precise answers. One more question I had yesterday when we were hearing our Guru Mata's class. She was very specifically mentioning many times that we don't attend or listen very attentively to the class. That's why we don't have many questions. So today I thought I should pay more attention to your class. So usually I put my tilak while you are giving the class, and I thought I was focusing on your class only. But I never used to have many questions. But today I didn't do anything. I said I will listen to your class and I'll see. I will try to appreciate. So I was able to appreciate a lot of things which you mentioned in the first four attributes of the divine, and I'm very, very grateful to you for that. And so many questions have arisen in me. I will try to ask you separately again.
Thank you, Prabhu. If you ask questions, then means I have to be prepared also. So that's for my benefit as well.
I don't think so. You are prepared for the next lifetime, whatever questions.
No.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
If you have time, I have one more last question.
Sure.
Okay. For the first time, actually, I got to know about the job responsibility of a sannyasi through this verse. So, like in this modern life, how can we define sannyasi's role? Like after a vanprasth ashram, like it says, sannyasi's role is not to just to beg, go to everybody's house just for begging, but to see the householders and awaken them to Krishna consciousness. So, I mean, is it really possible in this modern generation to, follow this sannyas ashram?
Yeah. In ISKCON, there's so many sannyasis.
Even Prabhuji is a sannyasi. Although he is in white dress, when he comes to our house, his main goal is this only, to awaken us. Although
I come to your house to get nice prasadam.
that is the garb under which you come, in disguise under which you come. But I know you are coming just for our
well. But yes, all jokes apart, sannyas doesn't mean just changing the dress.
Mm-hmm.
Like Prabhuji's Guru Maharaj, he is a grihastha. technically, but he's as good as a sannyasi because he's traveling and preaching, and this is all his job is, and he has taken complete shelter of Krishna.
Okay.
That's what sannyasi is.
Yeah, so beautifully Srila Prabhupada has explained about sannyas. For the first time only I got to know about the definition of sannyas. It is really wonderful.
Great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you, Prabhu, I think.
All glories to you. Yeah, it's 11:45 right now. So you all have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare